A pre-made stair stringer is usually something you can purchase at home improvement centers, lumber yards. I've seen them in different sizes, 3, 4, 5 steps, and but they usually don't work out in every situation. Now, here's an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say you have a pre-made stair stringer with 7.5-inch risers. It's a 3-step stair stringer, and you actually have a 30-inch tall floor, landing, porch, deck you're trying to actually get to. Now, this is fine if everything works out perfectly, but what if it doesn't? Let's just take this case, for example, where I took 2 inches off of the height of the deck. And instead of 30 inches, it's now 28 inches, leaving us with a 5.5-inch riser on the last step. And I can't tell you how many times I come across something like this, honestly. People just figure, hey, I can buy a pre-made stair stringer and I don't have to do anything, and they end up with something like this. And I'm here to say that if you have something that's off just a little bit, you can actually compensate for it by either subtracting and cutting some of the stringer. If it's a situation like this, you'll actually need to remove some of the stringer, the lumber, I should say, on the stringer, the materials. And if it's a little too high, you'll actually need to add to it. This next illustration should make a little more sense. If we have 28 inches, we divide it by 4. We have 4 risers. 4 divides into 28 7 times. Perfect. It's just nice and simple. Well, in order to accomplish this, we're actually going to need to remove 1.5 inches from the top, 1 inch from the middle one, and 1/2 inch from the bottom. And then this will actually give us 4 equally spaced 7-inch steps. So like I said, you can make these minor adjustments. Simply take the overall height, divide it by the number of risers, and then you're going to need to compensate for that. So for example, what we did here was took 28 inches, divided it by 4. That gave us 7 inches. And so we're basically 2 inches off. But we can't subtract 1/2 inch from the top of each step. That's not going to work. We will need to add each individual increment, which in this case is 1/2 inch. There's a 1/2 inch difference. We will need to add that incrementally. So 1/2 inch from the bottom, add 1/2 inch again, then we have 1 inch, and then the next one would be 1.5 inches to get this. Hope that makes sense. Now, when we go the opposite way, where we have something a little taller, then this is going to be a little easier because you're going to be adding material. You won't need to cut anything. So in a case like this, you'll simply add 1/2 inch to the bottom, 1 inch to the top, to the middle one, the second step, and 1.5 inches to the top, giving you an 8-inch step, an equal 8-inch step. So either way, I hope this makes sense. A lot of times, I can't tell you how many times I come across something like this where they only need maybe they might have a 1/2 inch difference. And even if you come across something where you have a 1/2 inch, let's just say that you add up your risers. And again, this is simple. You take a tape measure down to the lumber yard where you're going to buy the pre-made stringers, and you measure the risers. If you have a deck height of 30 inches and you go down and you find pre-made stringers with 6-inch risers, this isn't going to work well. I should say it might not work well. I mean, if you obviously if you had a 30-inch platform, 6 divides into 30 inches nicely with a 5. So if you had 4 steps, it would work perfectly. So a little correction there, but I hope you get the point. Now, if you have you figure out the pre-made stair stringers are going to be off about 4 inches, 5 inches, something like that. It wouldn't be a bad idea then to cut your own stair stringers. Go to the website. I think it's in the do-it-yourself section. You should find enough information on it, and you can actually cut your own or get one of the books. There's more information in there for making your own stair stringers also. So that's it for the video. Make sure that you watch more of them to increase your knowledge about construction. And remember, this is important. Saving money isn't just about buying things that are inexpensive. You will need to actually do a little research and education. Of course, that's where these videos come in. Watch as many of these videos as you can to learn more about problems that you could run into and solutions for them.